back, everybody. Making it simple here. Pastor Randy, great to be back with you. Had some personal things that I had to deal with, so I had to be away for a couple of days. As many of you know, if you follow me on all the different platforms that I kind of present these informational things to, teachings and lessons and encouragement and what have you, was dealing with some personal matters. With my mom in particular. My mom has some severe health matters that we had to deal with, and so we had to attend to her. But we are back. The Lord has blessed us and opened doors for her to be taken care of, so we're all good. We're back in the saddle again and ready to ride. So, I want to jump back into what is discernment, seeking and understanding, this new lesson that we started. I've gotten some great feedback on this. Thank you all for watching and sharing these things with others. And I want to encourage you to continue to do that because, again, this is not about me. I'm nobody. What this is about, I believe with all my heart, we're called to encourage each other. We are better when we lift each other up. And because life is real. And one of the things that we find in this particular passage that we're studying from Proverbs chapter 2, what is discernment? How does that apply to our life? And when we begin to understand that these lessons go so much deeper, and I know I'm probably gonna upset a feather or two on this, but they go so much deeper than just being a Bible verse. And that's how they're intended. This is not merely, the Bible, friends, is not merely for just memorization to say, well, I can quote a Bible verse. No, it's informational, which allows it to be applicable. I'm not trying to use big words. The bottom line is it gives you the instructions for life. But instructions are meant to be applied if they're going to produce something. We see historical content with characters and kings and this and that all throughout Scripture. And then we come to the answer, which is Jesus. And everything points us to that. But we go back to these words of direction. We look back at what we were talking about when we left off our last time together last week. Just in recap, we were looking particularly at verses 3 through 5. And I want to specifically look back at a couple of these and really draw out the points. 3 through 5, again. Furthermore, if you call out to insight and lift your voice to understanding, if you seek it like silver and search for it like hidden treasure, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and discover the knowledge of God. We're going to focus in on this a little bit today. If you seek, we see that a couple of times there. As you've heard me say many times, and those who hear me teach in person at my church, they know that I'm a word guy. All right. And so we're drawn to not just the meaning of the word, but the application of the word. This is how we learn. One of the things oftentimes with especially with biblical teaching is many of the biblical teachers, and again, I am not trying to be critical nor proclaim any great knowledge, but many try to prove from the biblical context of the time and who wrote it and what they meant. What we find then is we start curving the road toward our knowledge. Humanistic knowledge, which oftentimes just reflects religion, because we try to find all these moral compasses that are there that make us more godly or less. That's not what this is about. This is about how do you take this and apply it to daily living. Where does this take you if indeed, if being the key word, you are seeking the things of God? Those are both action terms as they are applied, because if means I have the opportunity. Seek means I'm taking the opportunity. The writer here says, if you seek, then you will understand the fear of the Lord. I want to focus on that for just a minute. If I will take the opportunity, the door that has been opened before me, and go through it, what happens? And if I don't go through it, what happens? there's a consequence on either side of the entry or the non-entry. We have to understand that. But here the writer says, if you will seek. So if indeed, he says, we talked about this last time we were together, seeking things like silver. Well, again, that is a precious metal. That is an ore, whatever the case. And where is it at? It's in the ground. It's in a cave, wherever it may be located. But it exists. It's real. The same things with the truth. The same things with God. The same things with spiritual matters. They are real. But are you willing to look for it? Because it might not always be right in front of you in the way that it needs to be, in the accurate way. We have a lot of things presented before us that oftentimes are a facade. They're not real. It's like watching David Copperfield make the elephant disappear. That didn't really happen, but it looked like it did. We have a lot of smoke and mirrors today, but what is real? You have to look for that. And that's here where the writer said, if you will seek, then you will understand. Why? Because the scripture says, if you seek, you will find. That all goes back to the intent of the heart. What am I looking for? So here we hear the phrase, understand the fear of the Lord. But what is that? How do we grasp that? Because by standard, when we hear the fear of anything, that ties over into phobias, that ties over into worries and concerns, and I'm scared to death, and I'm hiding in the closet, under the bed, or around the corner. But that's not what that means. And oftentimes that phrase alone has been abused in the church because many try to strike fear in the sense of you should be scared to death of God. But that's not what he's saying, okay? Because we have to go back and equate the word father, okay? If indeed, and I say if again, because we're going to say that word a lot in this lesson, as a parent, okay, I've been blessed to be a parent now 3 times with my daughters, grandparent now twice. I want none of them to fear me in the sense of I never would want them to be scared of me. I want them to respect me. And I want them to believe that if I tell them something is for their best interest, they may not always listen. I got 2 teenage daughters and they don't. God is our Father. He does not want us to fear him in the sense of I want you to be scared of me when I walk in the door. No, I want you to revere that what I have for you is best for you. And because I love you, I may have to tell you no. I may have to present a consequence to you when you don't listen, only for your betterment, because Scripture says that God corrects those that he loves. But he never says, I want you to be scared of me. That's a differential in how we use words and how we tie our Western culture to certain words. Fear of the Lord. Understanding, okay, because the writer here says you will understand the fear of the Lord if you seek. So all of these words matter. Now you may be saying, well, Pastor, this is one verse and these lessons are built around the individual words because they point us to the answer, right? Understand, it requires a willingness to learn, which requires listening and paying attention. When we look around us today, all the options that are around us today, what are they trying to do? They're trying to get our attention. Everything tries to get our attention. It's a marketing strategy. It's an advertising campaign. It's a flashy sign. It's a scantily clad person. All these different things are trying to get our attention. It's a shiny object, just like fishing. Shiny objects cut through the water to get the fish's what? Attention, with the hopes that they don't see the hook. That's what everything's about today, friends. What does this need? What does this present to us the need for? Discernment. And the need for that is vital if we're going to understand what is true, but even more so, what is of God and what is not. You see, friends, the fear of the Lord is simply this. We begin to understand those things that matter to God. And they become very, very clear. and our understanding moves to the place of God truly means what he says. That's a reality. We begin to live that. And the reverence and respect that we have for God as our Father causes us not just to pause in the way that we do things and how we act, but rather it gives us a desire to live differently. That's important. We'll pick back up on the rest of this tomorrow when we return right back here to Making It Simple. God bless you.